Good afternoon, everybody. Hope you are enjoying the sessions up until now. My name is Maish Saidel Keesing. I am a platform architect for Cisco in Israel. And today I would like to talk to you about a side project which we started as a proof of concept, and hopefully will go slightly bit further, about integrating at least part of UCS profile management and network management into the OpenStack Horizon component. At the time we were talking about using Horizon, probably one of the things which we understood and decided during that time while we were working on it, that it might have to change from going into Horizon into more what the different project called Taskar. It's a very nice quote. Well, I don't even remember where I got it from, but everything is abstracted by software. And we can all say, yay, everything's abstracted by software. But there is always, as an administrator, something which you need to know your hardware. And you need to know how I can take care of my hardware, and if I need to expand it or change hardware from a specific server running at the moment, a compute node, you have to change it into something which is running a Swift node or a Neutron node, and things which will be dynamic in your cloud and in your data center. And that's not something which is currently well addressed at the moment with OpenStack. So what we tried to do was, at the moment, this is a screenshot of Icehouse, which is slightly different from what we were working on, but in any event, the same kind of idea of, there's three different tabs. There were three different tabs, one next to the other. Now they're more condensed and easier to actually manage and actually also customize. But there were three different tabs which you had. You had your project, which is everything which your user can see. Your administrative tab, which the OpenStack administrator can manage. And the third one is a plugin, which a number of vendors have started to use to customize and make different things. Red Hat have put something in their own. And one of the things we wanted to also do was add something else for a plugin which would actually manage or address some of the needs which we had in our certain specific use case for UCS. So we added in different tabs, and as you can see, there's three different tabs, and I'm only going to be talking about one of them at the moment today, and that is the UCS plugin. But we've also managed to integrate other kinds of components which have a correct API into this kind of same interface to provide a proper user story and help things from deployment of a whole stack, including the hardware and the applications and the OpenStack itself. The two things we wanted to do in the specific plugin at the time for the proof of concept was to say we want to know what equipment we have available from our UCS chassis and how many blades and what the blades status are. They powered on, powered off? Are they associated to a certain profile? And if we want to change that profile to something different in our environment or in this use case. So, of course, for those of you who are familiar with UCS, there is UCS Manager, which manages all the whole system, and it has a very, very extensive API, which allows you to talk into the UCS. Mostly at the time, we were using an XML API, and allows you to make configuration changes, get the information you would like out of it as well, and also if you would like to, in this case, because it was an XML query and XML reply we were able to present. And we were able to say, for example, I can get any of the blades which are associated, or my servers which are associated, their current status. And in addition, also, if I wanted to get anything out of the actual details of the API, for example, how many disks, what firmware level they're at. And the very interesting thing which we understood, that anything you can do through the GUI with enough development and the amount of work that you wanted to put into it, you could also do it through the XML API. If I would like to power on a server, power off a server, that would be very easy to do. All I need to do is send the right commands through the XML API. I could restart a server. I could even associate it to a new profile, or disassociate it from a profile which currently is attached to. Excuse me. I could even, if I wanted to, open a KVM session to the specific blade, because I want to see, I have a problem with my my server which is not responding through SSH, so I want to try and manage it. I would like to go actually and open up a KVM, hopefully in this case from a single pane of management, which will be the UCS, or in this case Horizon, and see what the problem is. We'll be able to open up and launch a KVM session through the XML API into the UCS manager. The second thing we wanted to address was the fact of when you do change a server or change the profile associated to a server, there's certain things that you also need to do is change the network settings which are associated, because you want to set, if you're making a compute node to change it into a neutron node, you have different network cards which have to be attached, and have to be attached to different VLANs. And if you want to, for example, you had a new VLAN provisioned to your data center or to your customer, and you want to add that into your OpenStack environment, you would also be able to do that through here. So again, XML API, all you have to do is make the correct calls in, get the reply back, and present it all through standard, the Django Python code. Nothing very, very mumbo jumbo or hocus pocus done here, was all through standard code. We could modify VLANs. As we said, we could get and add specific VLANs. As I said, all checkboxes, all these things are available currently through UCS Manager, through the UCS Manager tool, which we have, and that is all. You could create extra VLANs if you want. For example, as I said before, your network team has provisioned a new VLAN for you to use, and you want to add that into your blade, that all your tenants or your instances will be able to access that VLAN as well. It has to be provisioned on the hardware itself. And over here, we were able to say, I've got a new VLAN. Please provision it also on the UCS profile as well. And you always, in certain ways, could also do the same thing. Eventually, the idea would be that when you provision a new network, and if it has not been configured yet on the actual UCS Manager, you would be able to provision a network in Neutron, and then from there make an API call into UCS, and that also would provision the network for you as well. The reason that there's two, so firstly, as I said, this was a proof of concept project. This is a project which, during this summit, we're going to be discussing some of the options of putting this into the bare metal provisioning components of Ironic and Tusker, which is the UI, which actually encapsulates this whole concept. There are certain things which have to be discussed. For example, at the moment, Ironic, if I remember correctly, uses mostly IPMI. From UCS, we're not exactly, if I remember, IPM compatible or CIMC, I'm not 100% sure, but there's certain compatibility issues which need to be addressed, which will be discussed over here during the design summit. But what we wanted to actually show here is that that's the wonder of having an open source project, of having something which is community driven, that you can expand it in any way you want. As I said, there were two other tabs there as well, which I said, which I had there, which one of them was Razor, which is a Pixie boot provisioning mechanism, which is actually at the moment owned by Puppet and is now in a tech preview for the latest version, which they will probably bring either further into part of the commercial products in the upcoming versions. Not that I'm privy to the information, but that is what I suppose. And the other one is for Puppet itself, that I can extract information from a Puppet master about the actual applications themselves or the servers themselves, and also present everything as one single pane of glass. For an operator, that's somebody that needs to manage the whole infrastructure, this would be an ideal thing. And hopefully, during the future and in the future versions, we hopefully will be able to see something which will actually come up and come to fruition from this. Any questions, anybody? Yeah, please. So let me just rephrase the question because I'm not sure that everybody heard the question. So if you're saying if you would like to create some kind of like a virtual chassis or a virtual configuration, that all you need to do is plug in a physical blade and everything will be automatically configured for you, add it to the pool without you having to do anything. Once you've provisioned, once you put the server inside, everything will be pre-configured.
Yes, most of this is done. You can do most of this as far as I understand from the UCS manager, right? So you can create the profiles and everything.
Correct.
In advance, right? But if you think of it from the cloud level, right? Imagine you own a data center and I've got a single cloud OpenStack installation for that data center. I've got possibly 10,000 blades, right? And I'm going to order another 10,000. So what I do is I go into my OpenStack console and I go and configure all these chassis that will be arriving at some point. And all the guys have to do is physically do the physical work. Everything's been done. And as they plug it in, as it registers itself with the OpenStack controller, as it comes online, as you power it on, it knows that's supposed to be this. Bang, starts doing some work towards it.
To say it's on the roadmap, no, but there are ideas in that direction definitely for sure to make the automation of your data center as much as easy as possible and as simple as possible that you won't have to really do anything manually besides plugging in the physical piece of hardware.